Hey guys, this is Word Problems Day 2, and today we're going to be learning about a few different types of word problems and how to solve those. Okay, so when you're writing your equations for each of your problems, they're both going to look like the following. Okay, so the first type of equation that you're going to write is a x plus y equals a number form. Okay, basically, this is an equation that'll say you have this product x and this product y, and when you add up those total products, you have this number. Okay, so one of your equations should look like this, and one of your equations should look like this. Number times x plus number times y equals a total number. And what this is saying is that x has a price. Okay, so it's the price times x plus the price times y, and that equals the total amount you spent or the total amount of tickets you bought, etc., etc. Okay, so these are the two types of equations that you're going to be writing. All of the problems that we're going to be doing should be in this form. Okay, so make sure your equations are in this form when you're writing your solving your word problems. Okay, so let's look at number one. It says Sally spent $14.85 to buy 13 flowers. Okay, so that's key, 13 flowers. She bought lilies, which cost $1.25 each, and tulips, which cost 90 cents each. Okay, so how many of each type of flower did Sally buy? Let's go ahead and solve. Okay, so our first equation is going to be comparing what things you bought and how many of them you bought. Okay, so we know that she bought lilies, okay, L for lilies, and she bought tulips. And when you add up how many lilies and tulips she bought, Sally bought 13. Okay, so there's our first equation and matches what we wrote up top there on your paper. And secondly, you're going to be comparing your price for your tulips and your lilies compared to the amount you spent. So how much did Sally spend on lilies? Well, it says they cost $1.25 each. So we have $1.25 times the lilies plus our cost for tulips. Our cost for tulips was 90 cents. And when you add up the total amount that you spent, that's $14.85. Okay, so there's our two equations, and we need to go ahead and solve those. We can solve it by graphing, elimination, or substitution, but I'm going to solve by graphing, or by elimination, I'm sorry. Okay, so I need one of these to cancel out. So I'm going to work with my L's. Okay, so I have a coefficient of 1.25 and I have a coefficient of 1. I need them to be the same coefficient, but different sign. Okay, so what do I multiply 1 by to get negative 1.25? Well, of course, so I'm going to multiply this entire row by negative 1.25. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So negative 1.25 times L would give us negative 1.25 L. Negative 1.25 times T gives us negative 1.25 T. Okay, and negative 1.25 times 13 would give us negative 16.25. So negative 16.25. Okay, so now that we have same coefficient, different sign, we can go ahead and add these columns up. So let's do that. So if we add up our L's, they cancel out. If we take 0.9t plus negative 1.25t, that would give us a negative 0.35t. And you can do that on your calculator. And lastly, if we take 1485, do this on our calculator, 1485 minus 16.25, that gives us a negative 1.4. Okay, so then we got a short little equation here. We of course want to get t by itself, so we're going to divide each side by negative 0.35. And if you divide that out on your calculator, negative 1.4 divided by negative 0.35, that gives us a t of 4. So we know that she bought 4 things of tulips, and since she bought 13 flowers, well, of course, how many lilies did she buy? Well, of course, 9. So our final solution is 4 tulips, and our lilies was 9. Okay, so there's our first example of this type of word problem. Okay, so let's try another one. Okay, it says, Jenna is deciding between 2 cell phone plans. The first plan has a $50 sign-up fee and costs $20 a month. The second plan has a $30 sign-up fee and costs $25 per month. So let's write an equation for both. Okay, so the first one, it says that they have a $50 sign-up fee and cost $20 per month. So your y-intercept is always your sign-up fee. Okay, so it says $50 sign-up fee. And how much does it say per month? Well, we know it's $20 per month, so we have a 20x. Okay, the second plan has a $30 sign-up fee and costs $25 per month. So this time it's a $30 setup fee, and it's a $25 per month. Okay, so there's our 2 equations that represent each cell phone plan, and it wants to know how many months will until the total cost will be the same. Okay, well, if you wanted to solve this, all you would have to do is either graph it or set these 2 things equal to each other. Okay, so if we did that, it would be 25x plus 30, all equaling 20x plus 50. Okay, so we could go ahead and solve that for x and get your answer. So let's look at that real quick. So if we wanted to get the variables on the same side, we would, of course, take this 20x and move it over. So subtract 20x. And those 20s would cancel out. And that would give us 5x plus 30 equals 50. Let's zoom in a little bit. And then, of course, undo addition with subtraction on both sides. So 5x is 20. And if we divide it by 5 on both sides, that would give us x equals 4. Okay, so it would take us 4 months to go ahead and see how many months it would take for those cell phone plans to cost the same. Okay, so 4 months. Okay, and we're going to skip these other 2 questions. Okay, so you have to know how to set up those equations, and you have to know how to solve that equation. All right, before we get started with the next one, I have a quick joke for you. What's the difference between bird flu and swine flu? Think about it. Think about it. If you have bird flu, you need tweetment. If you have swine flu, you need ointment. All right, you like it. Okay, our next problem says, Mr. Frankie has a son and a daughter. Morgan is 4 years older than Colton. Together, their ages add up to 13. Now, remember, we have our 2 types of equations. The first one is going to be Morgan plus Colton, and it says that together their ages add up to 13. Okay, so together their ages add up to 13. And the other equation, it says Morgan is 4 years older than Colton. So we can say that if you have Colton, you know you have to add 4 more years in order to equal Morgan. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this. We know that Morgan equals C plus 4, so we can plug that in and use it by substitution. So let's take this and plug it in for M on the other equation. So instead of M plus C equals 13, we have C plus 4 plus C equals 13. Okay, now you can combine like terms. If you have a C and a C, that gives us 2C, and plus 4 equals 13. And then, of course, you can solve that real quickly. Subtract 4 on both sides, and 2C equals 9. Okay, then we can divide each side by 2. So we know that Colton is 4.5 years old. Okay? Well, if Colton's 4.5 years old, and Morgan's 4 years older than that, we know that Morgan would have to be 8.5 years old. Okay, so there's our solution. Colton 4.5, Morgan is 8.5. All right, last one, and then we'll be done. Okay, it says a jar contains nickels and dimes. There are 20 coins in the jar. Okay, so that tells you enough to write your first equation. Okay, so we have nickels and dimes. And if you add up how many nickels and dimes you have, that would give you 20 coins. Okay, so there's our first equation. Our second equation, you have to know how much a nickel and a dime is worth. Okay, so how much is a nickel worth? Well, of course, you know a nickel is worth 5 cents. And of course, you know a dime is worth 10 cents. And how much did we have in the jar? We knew that we had $1.40. Okay, what I would like you to do is go ahead and try to solve this one on your own, and we will go over it here in a few minutes. See ya.